everything will cook really quickly.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we'll be reacting to the recently viral BBC's egg fried rice recipe. Now, like many other Asians, I've cooked and eaten many egg fried rice before, and in my opinion, it is the most revealing dish in Asian cuisine. Because of how simple it is, right, you can tell so many things about the person cooking it. Egg fried rice is a dish that has very few ingredients, right? Basically it's rice, egg, aromatics and seasoning. So there's nothing for you to hide behind. But yeah, I don't want to go too much into detail. Let's start with the video.
Egg fried rice. Don't be afraid. This is really simple.
This is really simple. In cooking, you have to be very scared of simple recipes. The lesser there is on the recipe means that the more you have to show your technique. If you were to cook something like a beef roast or curry chicken, right, it will be quite hard to screw it up because the meat will speak for itself. But when it's just egg fried rice and there's only egg to rely on flavor, you have to be very scared.
It's cheap, it's delicious, really satisfying, and it's like a takeaway, but you haven't paid £8 for it. So a lot of people get afraid of cooking with rice, but you can follow a really simple rule, which is for every 1 part rice you have, you need 2 parts water. It's as simple as that. It honestly does work every single time.
Now this is, there are generally 2 ways to cook rice. One is the water absorption way, in which you put 1 part rice to 1 part water, normally approximately. We Asians don't measure stuff. And the rice absorbs all the water. This is the second method, which is also another legit method, by the way, depending on the rice that you're using. You add the rice in an excess amount of water and then you drain it afterwards, or you, what's that called? You scoop it up afterwards. But we normally don't do this because it produces very different textures in the rice. And spoiler, it's not one that we want in our fried rice.
This is going to cook enough rice for around 2 people. So now the rice is on, it's time to crack on with the eggs. I've got
When people make joke like that, they are on BBC Food lah. When I make joke on that, people call by me like, hello?
frying pan here, get that onto a medium heat, and then just add a little bit of oil. So
Wrong! Adding too little oil, right, is a really big mistake in fried rice. If you go and look at all the good fried rice, right, like Din Tai Fung's, right, you'll realize that there's a shine on the rice. That is oil. So the trick here, right, is adding enough oil, and adding enough oil, right, allows the egg to cook in a sort of a deep fried way, and then the flavor that you get, right, from cooking eggs with very little oil and with ample amount of oil is vastly different. So it affects a lot on one of the biggest thing in egg fried rice, 蛋香. And the second thing is that it creates that really nice texture on the rice. And because each rice grain is coated really with a bit of oil, right, it gets to like glide along each other on the stove. Then your fan will be 一粒一粒. Oh, it's so hard to talk about 蛋炒饭 without going to Chinese. Then your rice will be, each grain will be very separate and the texture will be good.
that heat up. So 1. I'm going to try and do this one-handed.
That's impressive.
Scramble the eggs up, mix the eggs up. My rice is boiling, so lower the heat to a simmer. Lid halfway. Once it's on a simmer, you want to cook it for around 10 minutes. Wang your eggs in. Oh, yeah, nice.
In egg fried rice, right, if this happens, right, it means that your temperature is too low. When you heat the eggs into the oil, right, it's supposed to bubble, right, and then the fragrance is just different.
And then you just want to gently scramble them. You don't want the eggs to cook too much, you just want them to slightly set. They'll cook more once you put them back in with the rice. And then you just want to put that onto a plate, leave it to one side.
Although it seems really simple, she just removed the eggs into another plate, right? There's a fundamental principal problem here. And the principal problem is, why do you fry rice? So this dish is called 蛋炒饭, right? By transferring the eggs into another plate, you're losing a lot of that fragrance, which you need to capture with the rice when you fry it together. You need to capture that 蛋香 and infuse it into the rice that you're cooking. In Chinese cooking, when we name a certain dish a certain way, soy sauce, chicken, XO 鱼头米粉, whatever we put in the name needs to be the main flavor profile. So if you are not capturing 蛋香 into your fried rice, right, you are not making egg fried rice. You're making fried rice with egg, which is a very, very, very different thing. Back to the question of why do you fry rice? You fry rice to produce a rice dish that is capable of harnessing that flavor of whatever you're trying to add in. Sambal, salted fish, petai, what else is there? There's like a ton of other 炒饭. And from this step alone, although it looks really harmless, just transferring the egg out, right, I think this disqualifies it as egg fried rice already. But let's push on. Did I speak too long? I think I speak too long.
Okay, rice. We are looking good. Drain it. The rice has...
Now, this is the part where the netizens, the online community goes crazy because she is going to
in it, which will make it a bit gloopy when you're stir frying it. So,
and this technically is supposed to rinse off any excess starch on the water. And obviously it looks appalling, but in food, right, you cannot copy something until you have tried it. So give me a while. So I tried it her way with 1 part rice and 2 part water, right? And the thing is, why are you adding 2 part water when you're going to drain it out anyway? It doesn't make sense. You can add 3 part water, 4 part water. The point is that you're cooking the rice in an excess amount of water. And what this does is that the rice has unlimited amount of water to absorb, right? So it becomes softer, fluffier, and wetter. It's a bit stupid to say out, but yes, it does turn wetter. But as you can see here, the finished product is not at all terrible. It still resembles a lot of white rice, the white rice that we eat. But 2 serious drawbacks of making rice this way for fried rice is 1, the moisture content. You cannot have wet rice for fried rice. If you have wet rice with fried rice, right, you are not able to capture any of that fragrance, any of that texture. In fried rice, the texture of the rice is just so important. It must stand on its own, it must be distinctively separate from the next grain. And with wet rice, you're just not able to do that. You end up boiling the rice in your pan later. And the second thing is, washing the rice with tap water, right, washes away the flavor. This is something that I'm not sure how many people will get, but white rice has a very distinctive taste depending on its grain. If you get good white rice, right, you can eat it just on its own. But if you wash it with tap water like this, all you're gonna taste naturally is the tap water that is being absorbed by the rice after cooking. And it has this very flat taste depending on, you know, where your tap water comes from. So yeah, that's the end of the experiment. It does make rice, and I can imagine cooking other kinds of rice like this. There are there are so many other varieties of rice. I'm sure this technique will work for another kind of rice. But for white rice, for fried rice, this is a big no-no. And now, back to the video. And we are back.
Time to chop the veg. So it might seem like a bit of a faff doing all this chopping first, but because you're cooking fast, you're stir frying, you want to have everything good to go when you start cooking. So
that is very, very important. That's actually a really, really good tip in fried rice. Because everything happens so fast in stir fry, you need to have all your ingredients ready. Once you start the flame, there's no going back to say, oh, let's go chop the garlic, I forgot the garlic. Your rice will be overcooked already. Overcooking the rice might sound trivial, right? But the thing is, you're breaking down the starch structures in the rice, right? Such that it will not have that ideal fried rice texture that I talked about just now.
So everything will cook really quickly.
I'm sorry if I offend any of you who prefer peas in your fried rice, but for me it's just so redundant. all the pea does, right, is add some color to it and a really strange kind of sweetness that does not belong in the dish. I think all that the adding the peas is gonna do, right, is just interfere with the amount of 蛋香 that you're gonna get. And for me, it's just a big no-no. But I believe she's English from the accent, so yeah, whatever suits her fried rice.
Really crisply. Time to cook. We are going to stir fry now, which basically means cooking on a high heat to...
That's good. For beginner cooks, that's a good way to feel how hot your oil is, because you need your oil to be hot in order to start stir frying.
Retain the freshness of the food. In go the peppers and onions. Ooh. So you want to cook these for about 2 minutes. With stir frying, you want to keep it moving all the time. You've got a really high heat here, so you don't want it to burn. So just keep kind of gently moving everything about.
That's good.
Okay, that's looking pretty good to me now. And then just add your garlic and ginger. Move it all around again for another minute. Oh, that's smelling really good. So now what you want to do is lower the heat to a medium, and then you want to put all the other ingredients in. Rice, the egg.
Notice the rice here is actually not looking that bad. You can still see each rice structure from another and it doesn't seem like it's sticking in any way. This was why I was curious to try it myself, because I don't think it will result in the gloopy mess that a lot of people assume this would be, but I think this is really fine.
Walk out the door, you see someone that you know and they ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Egg, the spring onions, and the peas. And then you just want to stir it all together and cook it through for about 3 to 5 minutes. Oh wow, that looks so good.
This is why you should use a wok, right, for cooking fried rice, not a frying pan. Because you see how uncomfortable she is with stirring that. Because stirring any more, right, just adding a little bit of force, right, and then there's rice actually coming out already, even though she's not using that much force. So you want to like higher sides, right, so that you can, you know, play around with the rice. It's not to be all showboating about it, but like it's practical.
So pretty. And then your soy sauce. I just add a bit to begin with, and then once you're plated up, then give people the option to add more, because you don't want to over soy sauce the dish. And that's done. Time to plate up. The colours are still vibrant. Yum-ington. I'm going to eat some now. Right, let's have a go. That's absolutely delicious.
This is something that I cannot do. I just cannot, like, how do you eat something that is so plain, right, and act as though like, wow, it's damn nice. I don't doubt, I honestly don't doubt that this is still a decent plate of fried rice. But for this to be like what she's saying, absolutely delicious, especially if you're a chef, right, you have probably cooked many other delicious things before. So egg fried rice will be an egg fried rice, especially if you're not using any secret techniques or some sort of flavor bomb like bacon or, you know, whatever fats, right? Not even butter. How can this be absolutely delicious? I get it. As a food channel, you're supposed to sell your end product. But this is like straight up lying.
You can taste the ginger, the garlic, veg is still fresh. Really, really good. So delicious. I'm very proud of myself.
Yeah, so that's it. I didn't mean this video to, you know, trash on somebody's recipe, because it's not easy making recipe videos, as I would know. There's a lot of things. It's one thing to be cooking delicious food, and there's one thing in translating it to a good recipe video. And it's not exactly the same thing. In fact, it's very, very different things. But I have utmost respect for the egg fried rice. It is such a popular household dish that is both simple and extremely difficult to master. If I were to really go into it, there's probably utilizes a lot of key cooking skills that you cannot hide behind. Your temperature control, your seasoning, your knowledge of your ingredients and their quality. It is difficult. Even now, after home cooking for how many years now? I don't really remember, but quite 7 years now, I would say. I'm not fully confident of producing like an egg fried rice that will, blow me away. Oh, and the whole video she never talked about overnight rice. So yeah, I hope this video was informational, at the very least. There is just so much about egg fried rice to talk about, and I can imagine it's probably not easy to cover all of that in a 4-minute, make it easy video recipe. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys this time. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, and subscribe if you want to see more food content like this. And I'll see you guys in the next video.